Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions podcast with Brent Bailey. And at the tech booth, Jody Cook-Bailey and Luke Cardiel. We are growing our circles of connections and knowledge together with encouraging conversations and positive communications. And now, Brent Bailey.
Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions. It is the 2nd of October, and wow, this week went by really fast. And we got out of September, and we are now squarely into October. It's unbelievable that just happened. It seemed like just yesterday we were coming off of summer in August, and bam, September was over with just like that. I'm going to be joined right now over at the tech booth with Jody and Luke. And guys, let us get this show on the road. Yeah. Everybody doing good over there?
We're doing good.
We're on the road.
We're on the road. Not technically.
Okay, can I get some volume on my computer over here?
It's on.
There it is. Now we go. All right, so...
Let's do this.
All right, so we got a lot going on today. I've got a great guest on the show today. I've got a missionary to over on the other side of the world, over in the Beirut, Lebanon, and he is going to be with us talking about their organization and what they're doing over there and some ministry efforts into the city ever since August when the explosion happened. And so we're going to be talking to him in just a few moments. It's Matt Beemer, and so you'll want to stick around and join us for that. It's going to be a great show. Guys, there's a lot going on in the world today, a lot of national days.
A lot of national days. Today, the first one I pulled up was National Manufacturing Day.
Oh, great. I grew up next to, right just down the street from a large steel plant. And then just a few miles further down the road, there was a chemical plant and an oil refinery. So I've been around manufacturing. Grateful for those people. That is just an awesome, what's the word I'm looking for? Not organization, but it's an industry. An awesome industry to be around. So we're really grateful for those folks.
Have you seen those YouTube videos of those like people in Chinese factories that are like doing it like high speeds, like
where they're not even looking?
Yeah, they're not even the cards and stuff.
Yeah, cutting paper. And,
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it
just
is crazy.
Really fast. So those folks, man, they make the world go round.
They do,
so
and they employ a lot of people.
A lot.
You need to have a lot of people to.
They used to be some of the best jobs you could get over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in certain parts of the country, it still is a great job to have. So, anyway, thank you for all of you that do that, and those of you that are in an area where maybe your factory is closed or what have you. Just know that we're always praying for those kind of jobs to come back, and so we were looking and we appreciate you. So.
And so then moving on to other people we should really appreciate is National Custodial Workers Recognition.
Wow, that's a mouthful, but you're exactly right.
I got it. I think a lot of times people take advantage of those that, clean.
Sitting right next to you is a young man who used to do that.
He did. Thank you.
Thank
you for your service.
Used to be the guy that wears the backpack vacuum
No,
cleaner.
I didn't
do that one?
No.
Oh, I thought you did.
I went from office to office getting the trash out of people.
That's
And I vacuumed several buildings, but I didn't do the RCA.
Okay. And so, man,
it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And we would all be living in filth if it wasn't for folks like you.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yeah, it's a big job.
It really is.
It
really is. I know that around here, just getting our boys to take out the trash is like an act of Congress.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's like guys, it's time to take out the trash,
How
and
much
they
money
look at you like,
am I going to get? That's usually the question.
Yeah, it's like what's in it for me? So.
Exactly. Yeah. They don't understand. What's in it for you is you don't have to walk in filth.
Right. So thank you for all of you folks that do that.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. What else is going on today?
National Fried Scallops Day.
Oh, well, that's Jesus touched that day. Today has been especially touched by the Lord because I like scallops.
Yeah, I know
Scallops
you
are good.
do.
Yeah, one of our sons is very allergic to them, can't have them, but
Right.
but I love them. They're so good.
In a seafood pasta? Oh, yeah.
Or with like curry sauce, or I mean, anyway. But fried has got to be that's just got to be awesome.
Really good.
Anything that's fried is delicious. So
So let's move on because there really
What
are
about
a
a fried
lot.
Twinkie?
Oh, we're going to talk about
Amen.
fried.
Had one of those.
Amen.
All right, if that's what we're going to do.
You know, that's one thing that I know there's countless things that are bad about COVID, but a lot of the state fairs got canceled this year because of it. And so there's all that the country's cholesterol collectively came down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't.
Because
Because
of
they
the
start doing it at home.
the fried food. Well, I think we were speaking to a couple of folks the other day. Sunday, we went to lunch with some folks, and they were telling us they live in Iowa, and good friends of ours that are from here. They were here
They
in
used to
Orlando,
live
and
there,
they
yeah.
moved away, and they were here on vacation, and they said the Iowa State Fair was canceled, which everybody was very heartbroken about.
Right.
Because that's the only thing there is to do in
Well,
Iowa.
it's this time of year. Everybody goes to just eat fried food and walk around for a little
Right.
bit. So they were so disappointed, and the state was so disappointed. So what they allowed them to do was just in the parking lot set up all those food trucks
Oh, gosh.
for one day for everybody to come and get their fix. So it's like everybody was
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
the jonesing of
The Sugar Jones.
the Sugar Jones. So
See, the advantage of the fair, though, is that you walk around the fair after
And you burn it
have-
all off.
You burn it off a
That's
little
right.
bit.
Or at least
Well,
a quarter of it.
Yeah. Something
yeah.
like that. I know, it's quite a bit.
yeah, it's
So-
But anyway, so what it's fried scallops day.
Fried scallops.
It's really not necessarily junk food, but anything that's fried is delicious.
I
So-
mean, yeah, and that is something I could see them doing at a fair, is fried scallops.
absolutely
Yeah, but it'd have to be like,
chocolate covered.
chocolate covered or
Chocolate-covered
peanut
fried
butter and jelly fried scallops. Hey, Mr. Peanut Butter and Jelly
I would
Steak.
I would probably hesitate on anything seafood with peanut butter. I like it on meat of all kinds, but I can't. I don't know about fish and seafood things. You know what though? I'm down to try it.
Okay.
Where were we the other day? We had peanut butter and jelly wings. Where was that?
Oh, no.
Oh, it was delicious.
Yeah.
It was at that place. It was Bombshells and Ales back in Kentucky. It was
Oh,
delicious.
yeah.
Peanut
Anyway,
butter and
peanut
jelly
butter and jelly is
wings.
good. All right, let's
Okay,
move on.
anyway,
What else is going on
National
today?
Name Your Car Day.
Name your car.
Yeah. Did you ever name your car?
I have not, but would you name your?
No.
He said
All right,
that's exactly-
let's do it right now. Everybody, name your car. What would you name your car?
Al.
Al?
Al. Okay. Jody.
I don't
See if you-
know.
Well, you want me to do something like the Destroyer?
No. But I mean, you got to find something that fits your car. Your car doesn't look like an Al. Maybe a Hans.
Maybe an Alfred?
Because it's a Volkswagen. So Alfred's better. That's better. Okay, I'll give you a pass on that one. So
I don't know.
How about Philip? I think my car looks like a
Philip?
Philip.
No.
okay, we'll
No.
let it go. Jody, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean.
Jody drives a little red Jeep Compass. What do you think?
Yeah.
Cindy.
Shelley? I don't know.
What did you say?
Shelley?
Shelley?
I don't know.
There you go.
I think about like my childhood invisible friend, and then
Was that her name, Shelley?
I think it was. It's a long time ago.
Oh, wow.
It's now coming out. 22 years in the marriage, Jody has imaginary friends. Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Now.
Jody's seeing people that aren't there.
We need to have
Not
Tina,
now.
Tina
Pray
Conkin
for
needs
her.
to come back on the show. I think, of course, I have an Escalade, so I have to give it some kind of uppity
Yeah.
Cadillac name like Reginald or
No.
Terrence the Third, something like that. I don't know.
What's like a butler name? Kensington.
Kensington? There you go.
Kensington. I like
Kensington's
that.
more of a like a Bentley or something's name. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So.
All right,
the
moving on real
question I would
quickly.
say would be, do you have a name for your car? That should be the drop down
yeah,
question.
yeah. So what is your car's name? I know if our friends the Comptons are watching, of course they have Frog.
Oh, yeah, Frog. That's
Frog,
right. Yeah.
and there's all kinds of folks that name their cars. So what's the name of your car? Let us know in the
Let us
comments
know.
below as you're sharing today.
Okay, so let's quickly move through the rest of them. National Body Language Day. We all sat up. I don't know about Luke.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, National Body Language Day. So if you're, just look it up. There's a lot. We could spend a whole show on that, but
There are, and there's we're a believer show, so This is our body language for the day.
And then National Produce Misting Day. That's when I was like, really?
What?
Really?
There
You
go.
know, you
gotta-
can
Sometimes
submit.
you gotta miss your produce.
Yeah. Oh, it's very, yeah,
was
exactly.
bad. That was bad.
And then the last one is World Smile Day.
World Smile Day. It's
Yes.
perfect. We have an international guest on today, and so wherever you're watching us from, smile today, because today is
Smile.
National World Smile Day. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right,
Anything
looking ahead,
else for
just
you?
a couple of cool things I thought that I saw on this day in history. And I got to go back and find it now. Yep. Oh, today in 1967, this is the day the first African-American Supreme Court justice was sworn in. Thurgood Marshall
Wow.
was sworn in on this day in 1967, October the 2nd, 1967. So
Very cool.
very grateful for
Yeah.
great men like that. And so that's on this day in history. And then a couple of birthdays today. Today is Gandhi's birthday, Mahatma
Yes.
Gandhi.
Yeah.
Of course, he's been passed on since 1948. But today is his birthday. Also, Kelly Ripa and Sting both have their birthdays
Oh,
today.
Kelly
so-
Ripa. I did see Sting.
Yeah.
And Groucho Marx.
Oh, yes, the legendary Groucho Marx.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. Happy birthday to them that are not with us anymore.
So I am so excited about today's guest. You know, I've known this gentleman for quite a number of years. He and I graduated from the same college, and he has been traveling all over the world since 1994. He's ministered to 6 million people in 3,500 services. He has pioneered 11 colleges in 5 countries. Established a city-leading church in the UK, mobilized more than 600 participants towards a missionary experience to over 40 nations, and is just an absolute joy to talk to. We've been able to connect and have been able to help. They had their like a board directors meeting here in Orlando, and they were able to use our facilities. We were scheduled to do a trip with the organization into Egypt, and Hurricane Irma came through and just trashed that idea. But we've been looking to reconnect ever since, and he is now doing some things in Beirut, Lebanon, and we are so excited to hear about what's going on over there with his ministry and what they're doing to help and minister to folks in the city of Beirut, especially since the explosion in August. So I would like you to welcome to the program today, Matt Beemer, everybody. Hey, Matt, how are you? It's good to have you here.
It's good to be with you guys today, man.
Yeah.
I love what you guys are doing.
Well,
It's fun.
We have just been growing in this ever since this started right after COVID, and so man, thank you so much. It means a lot.
Yeah.
First of all, how are you guys doing over there? Everything going okay? Has COVID messed with Lebanon very much?
It's messed. Obviously, it's messed with the whole world. And actually, my wife and I both had COVID for a while.
Oh my gosh!
So yeah, whole thing. Lost the smell, lost the taste, and we had already gotten stuck in the States for a bit, and we had to go and get that brain scratcher test.
Okay.
Before we could get, you have to have it a negative 96 hours before you get on the plane. They want to give you a boarding pass to be able to, fly across the world and enter certain countries. Then when you get here, you got to get a whole nother test, and there's all kinds of stuff you got to do these days. And ours came back. We're like feeling fine. The only thing I had was, a little bit of fatigue and tiredness, and then I did lose my smell and taste for like 4 or 5 days. And I thought, oh man, but I thought for sure that had been like 5 weeks beforehand. And when we went to the test and we got that test and it came back positive, we're like, no.
Oh.
So we had to sort of, the doctor says, after you've already passed the sort of infectious period, so you're fine. But, who knows? This stuff can stay, like even dead virus cells can stay in your system and test you positive, the doctor said, like, for sometimes 2 or 3 months afterwards.
Oh my goodness! I had no idea about that.
Yeah, I didn't either, and I'm like, that means I can't get on a plane for that long. There's no way. But thankfully, we went back 2 weeks later and we tested negative. And then once we knew we were tested negative, we had to book a flight. Then we had to test negative again because you had to have it within 96 hours of flight. And then we landed in Beirut And those people know how to scratch your brain properly. I'm telling you. So, so
you,
four negatives, one positive, and then we just decided we were at a doctor's office. Said, "Hey, you want to do a what do you call it? The blood test to see if you got antibodies?" And I'm like, "Why not?" So we got antibodies. At least we're protected now, so we're pretty good.
you know, they say that if you're desperate for money, you can donate your plasma. You can make $600 a month doing that.
Yeah,
I know that's. I was going to say, I know that's probably right on the top of your list.
But
there, so.
if someone wants to do that and send it to Club 1040, we'll take your money.
There you go. So let's talk about that now. Matt's organization is called Club 1040. Let's explain the name because a lot of folks are unfamiliar with that term. How did you come up with the name?
Club 1040 Club is a group of like-minded people who come together around a common purpose and mission. Very simple. And then 1040 is the 10th parallel and the 40th parallel north. So, you know, the equator, then 10th parallel, 40th parallel. In that area of the world, missiologists have statistically shown that's the greatest concentration of people that, you know, live and die their whole life, and the greatest number of people that never meet a believer, never meet a Christian. And that's where the greatest number of non-Christian religions are, greatest number of unreached people are.
That's
Club. So we're a group of like-minded people that come together around the common purpose and mission of reaching that area.
So if we were going to ballpark that figure, how many people live in the 1040 window?
Well, there's about 7.5 billion people in the world, and somewhere around 4 billion people. And then that's the area of the world that actually is exponentially growing at a rate higher than any other geographical area. Because of, you know, less birth control and the way family dynamics and religious faith thinking is, and so those are, you know, the greatest, largest cities in the world are growing at an exponential rate in that part of the world. So it's growing fast. But around 90% of the people, 4 billion people, around 90% have never heard the name of Jesus. And as there's thousands of groups that are considered no Bible access, no in their language, no Christian workers, etc. And so those are our focus.
Wow. I know that when we had lunch, it's probably been a year and a half or 2 years ago now here in Orlando. But you were telling me about you were heading to Lebanon at the time. I don't think you were quite there yet, but and if you were, you weren't there all the time. You were telling me about how some of the things that were going on in Lebanon, how there was a large amount of refugees coming into the country, and that there was this explosion of population there for a smaller country from where these people were coming from. Is that causing a crisis for the country, or how's that working?
Oh, huge crisis. If you can imagine, you know, Syria. So Lebanon has the country to the south is Israel, and then Syria borders on both the east and the north side. And Syria is where ISIS, you know, kind of the caliphate and all of that whole attempt to take over Syria. And of course, they tried to actually come into Lebanon as well. So there were skirmishes on the borders and things like that. So people ran from the war and from ISIS and to places like Lebanon. In Lebanon, when before the war and all that happened, was around 4 million people. It's a small country the size of New Jersey. You can drive 2 hours from here in Beirut across the mountains, and you'll be in actually Damascus, Syria, capital of Syria. So you can drive a couple hours south and you're in Israel, a couple hours north and you're in the northern part of Syria. So small country, 4 million people. And in the space of 3 years, the population went from 4 million to 6 million. And if you can imagine, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, 6 million when you're in a city like, for example, New York or Texas, Dallas or somewhere like that, or even Orlando. But that amount of population in the small space, you think about your school systems, they already were stretched to max. If you can imagine another, you know, like 500,000 children suddenly enter your school, districts, and there's no places for them already. Then you think about the number of cars on the road. You think about displacement of workers. So you'd have one Christian worker that would get fired, and they would hire 3 immigrants from Syria, who are mainly Muslims. The population went from 70% traditional Christian, mainly Catholic and Maronite, and 30% Muslim, and it flipped. So it's like 60% Muslim, no longer. So huge changes economically as well. Huge changes economically.
I just can't even imagine what the churches had to go through as well. I mean, just all of a sudden you're just overwhelmed with folks that believe differently than you do. So I know that's also a great opportunity to do a lot of ministry. That's, I guess, what the white field for the harvest are all about. So tell us what it was like starting up there. I mean, was that an uphill battle? I know that it's always challenging to start something new, but in a climate like that, what was that like?
Well, the dynamics are very different in this part of the world anyway when it comes to starting works like we're starting. And even now that I'm talking from Beirut, yeah, it's okay to share things. We have to just think about the fact that we're probably we say certain words and it will trigger certain surveillances. So that's constant. Then from a demographic standpoint, think about this. We're establishing Bible schools, training leaders, and if a Christian believer has to work 3 jobs just to maintain the cost of living that they had 2 or 3 years before, they have no time to do anything extra. The people that do have the means and the relationships to leave the country, they leave. So, for example, one pastor told me he's kind of like a Hillsong. His worship team was kind of the influence like Hillsong is to the world in the Middle East. And he, when all these things happened, he lost something like 20 worship leaders over the space of 4 years because they immigrated out to other countries, Canada, Europe, and different places, because they had relationships, had family, had means, and they couldn't make a living where they're at. Your family, if you can't make a living, you can't make a living.
Yeah.
And then it got even worse because of the revolution started last year in September. I can't believe it's already been a year ago. And, basically we had sort of 4 months of lockdown before COVID lockdown was even something anybody ever talked about. And it went right from that, the revolution, 1 million people out in the streets protesting for days and days and days. You're on curfew, you couldn't leave the house, things like that. And then started to loosen up. And then COVID hit and lockdown was pretty severe here. You'd get fined a lot of money if the police found you out and stuff like that at different times. And then the bomb. So it's like all these things. It's just been really tough.
All right. I want to circle back to that in just a second, but I do want to talk about Club 1040 they do mission trips all over the place for other groups to come in on it. And I know we were coming to do like a youth event in Egypt with you, and we got canceled because of the hurricane. But let's talk about that real quick, and then we'll come back to what's been happening there in Beirut. People can sign up for a missions trip experience with groups through your organization. Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah, one of the most powerful ways for anybody to really experience the life-changing encounter with Jesus is to get away from their geographical locations. And then there's just something I believe that every person, every believer should experience missions at least once in their life. And so over the last almost 27 years now, we've seen about 700 people mobilized to a short, medium, or long-term missionary experience. And we try to make that an emphasis. Though these days we emphasize more mobilizing people from near cultures, like people from the area going to other close cultures, but we still host teams from churches that want to bring teams to different places. The challenge is most of the places that we host teams, people don't want to go because of security reasons. But we do an annual trip to the UK, so most people can do that one.
I was going to say that's like just going up to New York City or Philadelphia or one of the big cities
exactly.
up north. So if they wanted to get in a group, let's say a group that's a pastor that's listening, wanted to bring a group on there, they would just go to club1040.com and look for the information there?
Exactly. They can look at our website, but honestly, the best way to do is just email us at admin@club1040.com. And we assess each individual situation. Honestly, some churches don't have the the experience that we need people to have in order to come. So we're pretty selective. But if people feel like they're experienced, they have some team members that want to do something different than a normal trip. We do things in the northern Iraq, we do things in Egypt, we do things in Nigeria and different things. Our places tend to be a little more challenging.
I was going to say, this is not just, these are not just mission trips where you're going to, go over and sing a few choir songs and do a few skits in a church somewhere. You're going to actually be doing hardcore missions work. And it's awesome, though. I mean, I know plenty of folks that have come on one of your trips and have just been changed. And I actually just had lunch with somebody a couple of weeks ago who was here in town visiting their daughter that came to go see us, and was getting ready to come over there. And so I know so many folks have been touched and blessed by what your organization is doing. So, all right, now let's circle back now. As we all sat and watched the TV in horror back in August when the bomb went off, I know that people know about bombs and things that happen, but I don't think anybody was ready to see it that way. And I know everybody that we talked to, when they saw that, because there was, I guess, the information age with everybody's phone and everything, now they can send so much video, that really did wake a lot of folks up to really what happens around the world in other places. Yeah. Were you in town that day that it happened?
It actually, thankfully, not. We were supposed to be on the plane that day, but that's when we got the positive COVID test. And we were literally
a COVID blessing. That's terrible.
So it is horrible, especially when so many people have really been severely impacted by COVID. But that we were literally had gotten the test just the day before because we needed it in such a short period of time. We found it, and then we were supposed to be on the plane on August 4th, and August 4th is when the bomb blew up. So we wouldn't have been here because we would have been flying in. But it's good we weren't here because right where I'm sat right now, there used to be a dining table. I have a temporary setup now because there's some kind of high up glass windows up here, and we're 12 kilometers by road away from the blast site. So that's 6-7 miles away from the blast site, and it blew the glass in of these upper windows and just cut that dining table in half. And even this far away, and if I were to show you some of the adjoining buildings, we're kind of in a little bit of a group of duplex townhouse apartments. And even though the blast was coming from this way, and our building kind of protects the buildings behind it, there's still now, the glass is shattered out.
Oh my
and
goodness.
A number of them are. It's pretty crazy what happened. I mean, it's beyond imagination. 3 hospitals completely blown up. You see pictures in the natal, because of the cameras in those hospitals, obviously the CCTV cameras. And there's a really incredible story of this lady, a nurse, who was, with all the babies there, and because what happened is a lot of people heard commotion or heard the explosion before the concussive wave came. So they were drawn to the windows or outside to see the fire. They heard commotion. And then, so they're close to the windows, and then all the windows blow in from the concussion. And you could see all the little preemie beds and stuff going all over the place. They instantly lost electricity. And she ran into the other room where the babies were. Thankfully, they weren't by the windows. Grabbed 2 premature children and walked with bloody feet through like 2 miles to the nearest place where there was electricity to be able to get these babies to be able to take care of. And that's kind of like what happened. Everything went into triage all around that area.
My goodness. Our guest today is Matt Beemer. He is a missionary that has literally gone around the world. He is currently in Beirut, Lebanon, and we're talking about what happened and what their ministry is doing there now after the explosion on August the 4th. So Matt, what was I know the response, because I'm in ministry too. Your heart immediately goes into action, but then what was it that you guys started doing to help there?
Well, see, in this part of the world, and you think about this, already I was having pastors. There's about 9 Pentecostal churches in Beirut. The total attendance of all 9 churches, to show you the context, is somewhere around 1,200. And one of those churches has about 400, and there's a couple other churches have around 100, 200, and then it kind of goes down from there. And they already were facing extreme financial pressure because of COVID, and then before that lockdown, they had been on maybe 10% of their budget for maybe about a year, and they were in dire straits. And then this blast blows. Some of them had worked on their buildings for years, 12 years, 15 years, 20 years, and then renovated a couple of times, and suddenly the whole building is just destroyed. Not only that, but then all the 6,000 people were injured in this. It's a miracle, and I can tell you the behind the story on why only 200 people were killed. Only is a horrible way to say that, but when you see the devastation, it's crazy. But 300,000 people were made homeless, because it's such a densely populated area. 80,000 children were included in that. Schools that are shut down, all that kind of stuff. So our focus is aid comes in and goes to a lot of the secular, they help in secular ways, but the churches, they get overlooked, and they really we went and connected with churches that don't have denominational support from the outside or any other means, and so we identified those in most critical need, and then we just made an opportunity for people to connect financially, and then we literally, the way you do it, because of the previous lockdown, you can't access funds from the banks here. They had locked the banks down, so people's money was stuck. So they didn't want to have runs on banks. You could only take out a certain amount of money. So you can't wire the money over. So we literally had to get the money, carry it in. I had one pastor from Ohio, because we went positive, he went and got 4 or 5 COVID tests until he finally got it at the right time and knew what was going on. And then he carried a bunch of cash in for us. And then we went and we made sure that the people of most critical needs, the pastors, the churches and things, and pastors with tears in their eyes, having no hope, and then suddenly saying, wow, now I can fix my building. And then there's a great story is this little girl, little child, 9-year-old girl named Yara. She was filming her house. Her mom lives on $100 a month now because of the collapse in the currency. And everything is devastating in her house, and she's filming it on a phone, and that got sent to one of our church members, and he came to us, and because we had said, if you know anybody in critical needs that's not getting help from any NGOs or anything, let us know. And so in the filming, she says, God, please help my mom. And they're not from the Christian background. And so he came and he gave, $1,000 is equivalent to a year's salary almost. And we did a little more than that to be able to provide for things. So we were able to take care of that family and replace all the furniture and the glass and the windows and things like that, because the rains are coming in another couple of weeks. And then our church member, Lebanese church member, said Jesus heard your prayers. And as he was leaving, he saw the little girl get on her knees behind the kind of a piece of furniture and just start thanking Jesus in Arabic for what God had done. And that story is multiplied many times over.
My goodness, that is absolutely, that gets you right in the heart right there. That's a great, wow. So that's so amazing, Matt, to hear about those kind of outreaches. If somebody that's watching today would like to contribute, towards your efforts to help the churches and the folks there, what's the best way to go about that?
If you go to club1040.com/love Lebanon, all one word, club1040.com/love Lebanon. And there's a page there, there's a donate button, or you can commit to pray, and you get updates and things like that, and it has the information.
All right, I think they're gonna try and get that on the screen for us so that people can contribute to that. And now, by all means, we're not just trying to make this a sappy hey send your money kind of a thing. Yeah. But I felt led that we should be telling people the story about what's going on and how you're helping people there. Because it is so important for missionary organizations like yours to continue to function. I know a lot of folks look at the Red Cross and a lot of these other secular organizations, and those are all fine organizations. But the church is really the ones whose hearts beat the loudest, in my opinion, for these kind of things.
Not only that, but because of what we're doing, we're like the church here. They get out in the streets and they're visiting. I don't speak Arabic very well, And so they get out and they're meeting all the people, they're spending time with the people, they're preaching, they're sharing, they're feeding people, they're feeding literally thousands and thousands of meals have been fed from the churches to the local community and streets. Sometimes they set up tables in the middle of the street, they start, praying and singing and clapping, and then the people come to the windows, what's going on, and they invite people down from the apartments to come down in the neighborhood and come and eat together. That food is being provided by, some of that has been provided by the donations that people have given the Club 1040 Love Lebanon campaign. And 100% of what's given goes to these places. And we know the people who are ethical and have integrity and are know how to make the most of the resources we provide. So it's 100% getting to the need.
Amen. Matt, before we let you go today, we wanted to I know that so many people have had their lives turned upside down in some form or fashion this year. This year's been somewhat relentless on folks. Can you just give us a little bit of encouragement about, how to keep going and how to stay positive and how to still walk in the blessing here in 2020?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. And, even here now, everybody's got PTSD in a way that they've never had before. There's people, that are interviewed that's just in the hospital bleeding from the cuts. They're like, I'm going straight to the airport and I'm leaving. I don't care. I'm never coming back. Leaving their homes, leaving the businesses, everything. So, life is not fair. It stinks. But in the midst of these things, I'm seeing such incredible opportunity from crisis to become opportunities. There are more people giving their lives to Jesus now in this part of the world than ever before. The gospel is gone by airwaves like never before. As an example, if we would have had 100 people show up at a launch for our church, Go Church Beirut, if we would have had 100 people show up for that launch, we would have been ecstatic. Our launch team has about 20, 30 people in it. We would have been like 100 people, we went, woo! So when the lockdown came, our Lebanese team, we quickly changed over so that we went to online services. We just did once a month because we're a groups-based church. We meet in groups through Zoom on the rest of the time. Now we're doing some in person. But over the last 7 months, practically about one service a month, we have seen somewhere around 700,000 people view some section of our service, and that's in Lebanon. Those are Lebanon IP addresses. And this is the crazy number. It's somewhere around 130,000 combined attendance for the whole 55-minute service of the 7 services. And the contacts that we've seen as a result of that, coming from all different religious backgrounds and faiths, people are watching the services on their phones in places where, in the middle of areas of the city where there's terrorist groups that control those parts of the cities. We could have never went into those cities, but the gospel's going in those places. I have friends in Iran. There's a revival going on around. People are getting born again like crazy in places where the gospel could have never gone before. So, for example, the scripture that we pray a lot as a ministry is that the 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 2, that the gospel would speed or spread rapidly and have its fullest extent. And I'm telling you, this last year's been a shaking, and things are not going to be the same in the future. The education system's been shaking, the political system's shaken, the health system's shaken, but the church is shaken. And there's been a positive, all the negatives, there's a positive out of it, and that is the gospel is going to places it wasn't going to by the millions, and that's not an exaggeration, by the millions. And so I want to encourage people, just stand fast and continue to press lean into the opportunities that we see, the silver linings of the crisis, because they do exist. And we're going to see on the other side of this will probably be in history. We'll probably see more people were born again during this period than in the last many, many years, centuries, maybe even.
Amen. Matt, we got to get over there. I got to get over there. Just hearing you talk, it makes my heart beat faster. So, man, we're so
Ahlan wa salan. That means you're welcome.
Oh.
Come.
Well, Matt, we just for you to be able to work us into your schedule, and I know you got so much going on. We're so grateful. We're so happy about what you're doing there, and really the rest of that 1040 window over there. I'm going to throw some information up on the screen right now. if you'd like to give, especially towards the Lebanon outreach. Right there it is, club1040.com/love-Lebanon. If you'd like to get some missionary information, you can email them at admin@club1040.com. Now, they're also available on all the social media sites. There it is, Matthew Beemer on Facebook, Matt Beemer on Instagram, and Go Ye Beamers on Twitter. And then, of course, they do have a YouTube channel. It's Club 1040. And, man, I'm telling you, if you really want to be blessed, watch and listen to what some of the what they're doing over there. It's absolutely incredible. And man, we got to make it happen. We've got to make that happen for sure. So,
Awesome.
Matt, I appreciate your time today. Give our love to Julie and the kids, and your daughter-in-law, who I was her youth pastor growing up. So those kind of things. We just love you guys so much. We're praying for you, and we just hope you have a great rest of your day.
Hey, man, thanks a lot. And you guys be blessed, and blessings to all you who are watching today. So appreciate all that you guys are doing in America and around the world to make God's dream come to pass in this world. God bless.
All right. That's Matt Beemer, everybody, of club1040.com. All right. That's going to wrap it up for the show today. Man, I'm so grateful that you were with us, and I pray that you have a great weekend today. As we turn the corner and head into the weekend, let us know in the comments what your plans are for the weekend. We'd love to know what you're up to and know what you're doing. We've got a lot of things going on here. Monday on the program, any ideas? Oh, that's right. Sue Freeze is going to be on the program. She's a radio host out of KKLA in Los Angeles, California. I'm actually going to be on her show tomorrow. It's the SueFreezeShow.com. She's on KKLA in Los Angeles, and I'm going to be on tomorrow evening. I think that's 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, and it's all on the radio and syndicated around the world. So check your local listings for the Sue Freeze Show. It's spelled like fries, F-R-I-E-S. And she's going to be with us on Monday, so you'll want to be here for that. We love you guys so much. For Jody and for Luke, great show again today, guys. And for Matt Beemer, thanks so much for stopping by. We pray that you found what you were looking for as you took the time to expand your search and stop for directions. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for joining us today. Connect with us on @ExpandingYourSearch on Facebook and Instagram, and @ExpandingSearch on Twitter. Relive any of our episodes on YouTube. We're available wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can also download the Direction Ministries app on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Take some time today to expand your search and stop for directions.